Greetings, people of the internet. I'm Scott with Serkland's Art Labs. Welcome, mad creators, to the underground laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. And once we've created those things, sometimes we take them out to comic conventions and we sell that stuff. I just got back from Phoenix Fan Fusion, formerly Phoenix Comic Fest, formerly Phoenix Comic Con. It's had a few name changes. Something that I've been thinking a lot about recently is just comic conventions in general and whether they are still a viable way for artists to earn money off of their art. I don't know what the deal was this year. I don't know if it's con fatigue. I really don't know what, but it just seemed like, I don't know what the actual attendance numbers were, but it seemed like it was way down, and what people were there, they definitely weren't spending money, and if they were, it wasn't an artist alley.
Hey, so there's a little gap here. There's actually been quite a few little gaps. So last night was sort of an abbreviated thing. It was 3 to 8, something like that. And it was actually really good. It wasn't bad at all. And I jinxed myself by saying, like, if every night is if every day is as good as today, then like this will be awesome. Well, today sort of tanked. Everyone is saying the same thing. All the other vendors I'm talking to are saying, like, it's not great. I'm not distraught or upset. I'm just, if anything, I'm just a little bored. Don't let the fact that I stopped at Whole Foods for a piece of flourless chocolate cake cause you to think that it went poorly and I need consolation in the sweet, sweet, bitter arms of dark chocolate. But I do a little bit. It went, I can't say it went. It was sort of a blah day. On the bright side, and this isn't, I don't know if this is a really bright side, because it's like, I mean, it seems like everybody's in the same boat. Like, everyone I'm talking to there is sort of like, today's just sort of shitty. You know, I used to think that if you wanted to make money at a con, you had to do fan art. Like, that's the way to go. Like, if you're trying to do your indie thing, your own IP, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a slog because people like what they like. People like Captain America. They like Iron Man. They like Wonder Woman. They like, they like Venom. That's what they like. And so if you're offering them that, you could do okay. But, now the guys next to me, on either side of me, are doing a lot of kind of like recognizable property stuff. And they're struggling too. And I realized, looking at it through their eyes, yeah, some of that stuff is more popular, but that's kind of what everyone is doing. Like, if you walk through Artist Alley, it's just like fan art orama. So, like, how many guys, like, you're competing with every other person there drawing Spider-Man if you're drawing Spider-Man. Like, it's so we're all kind of like, no matter what you're doing, whether you're doing fan art, whether you're doing popular stuff, whether you're doing your own random thing, like, it's all trying to figure out, like, how to crack this nut. And I don't know. Hey, Spooky. Spooky missed me. I'm glad I'm doing it. It's fine. And like I've told people, like, I treat cons like Vegas. I only put into it what I can afford to lose. And so it's like, even if it's a bust, all it really is sort of wasted time when I could have been doing something else. What is interesting, one last thought before I eat this chocolate cake. For years I was doing cons, and people would be asking, like, do you have a comic? And like, they really wanted a comic. They wanted a comic. Now I have a comic. And now the question is, this is sort of fascinating, like, they always just want to get you deeper. They want to pull you in. They're like, is this going to be a series? And talking to some of the customers, they don't want a one-off. one person explicitly asked me, like I said, I've got the comic, and they're like, is this going to be the only one, or are there going to be multiple? Because, like, she wasn't interested in reading one-offs. She wanted a story. She wanted something where she's going to get more story later, and that she wanted to make sure that I was going to stick with it, which was sort of fascinating. I assured her, it's like, I'm working on the second one now. I have ideas for a bunch more. You know, I think you can turn the key on this, but anyway, I'm tired. I don't even know what time it is. It's 8 or 9 or something. I'm gonna eat this cake. I might play an old video game, and then I'm going to bed. Saturday, tomorrow. This is the big day. We'll see how it goes. Saturday. Show floor opens in about 20 minutes. Parking. I'm fine on time. It's just right over there. So, Saturday down. It was, so far the show, it hasn't been good enough to be a good show. It hasn't been bad enough to be a bad show. It's just like, I'm going to have some comments about the con right now, Phoenix Fan Fusion. Sort of criticisms or critiques. Or just wishes. But full disclosure, let me get a bunch of disclaimers out of the way. First of all, I haven't done a con in years. What the fuck do I know? Like, you know, like, fair. Like, I don't know. This is just my take. Second, like, I fully appreciate, like, the reason it might not be going amazing is because, look, it's a weird, narrow, kind of niche-y comic. It does not have broad appeal. Like, and I know that. And I knew that writing it. Like, I was writing the comic, the story I wanted to tell, and I was like, this is not going to be super popular. This is not something that everybody wants to read, and that's fine. I think right now my merch is a little confused, because I have leftover, like, basically, like, my old school Dinosaurs versus Marsbots stuff, which is goofier and sillier and very tongue-in-cheek and very cartoony. And now I have the comic, which is gritty and dark and sci-fi and looks more adult. And I can tell that people are, like, not sure. Like, they're looking at the stuff and, like, is this the same thing? Like, what is... Like, they don't... It's kind of confusing. If I had to do it all over, because I'm selling a lot more of the comic than I am of any of the old stuff, I think I would have just left the old stuff. I think I would have totally rebranded. We're going to just push the comic. It's going to be all hard sci-fi. All the prints are going to be prints, like panels from the comic blown up, or the cover. It's going to be comic, 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 and I'm not even going to do the old stuff. No coloring book, no prints, none of that. It's horseshit. I'm going to focus on the comic. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, like that probably would have been the stronger angle. Okay, that's all the things. Those are my learnings. Now here's my thoughts on the Phoenix Fan Fusion. So I'm a resident of Phoenix. Grew up here. I was going to Comic-Con back when it was itty bitty and it was a bunch of guys with big beards with dusty boxes of old comic books pawing through it and like action figures. I mean, it was retro, classic, vintage, awesome Comic Con. It was a Comic Con. It wasn't about like pop culture. It wasn't about movies, all that. I think Phoenix Fan Fusion or Comic Con or whatever the fuck they want to call it, it's kind of going the route that people who are familiar with San Diego Comic Con are very well familiar, where it used to be about comic enthusiasts and now it's kind of about TV and Hollywood. Phoenix Fan Fusion is sort of going that way. Now, I'm not going to shit on all that. Like, for example, this year they had Elijah Wood and Jeff Goldblum and, like, all these, like, big movie stars that you could get a picture with. I love Jeff Goldblum. I love Elijah Wood. I've seen those Jurassic Park movies. I saw all the Lord of the Rings movies. I've seen all the Marvel movies. I love, like, you're not going to meet anyone who's more excited than me about, like, Star Wars 9 coming in December. Like, I'm not doing that kind of like righteous, I'm the old school comic guy tip. Like, that's not what I'm doing. You know, like, what I'm saying though is if you have Hollywood guests, you're drawing like the Hollywood audience. And the Hollywood audience they're not enthusiasts. They're not interested in like some local's weird indie comic. Some percent of them might be, just like by chance. There's some fragment. But generally, they're into Marvel movies. They're into DC movies. They're into Jurassic Park. They're into Avatar. Like, these are moviegoers, you know? These are people who are into Doctor Who, like TV shows. They're not, and again, I'm not shitting on it. It's all cool. But that's not my audience as an indie creator. As an indie creator, I'm looking for people who are interested in, like, they've read all the Marvel comics, they read all the DC comics, they love that stuff, but what they really want is like some weird new thing that some indie somewhere is making. They just want to read like a random strange new comic from a random strange new person. And like, if I'm that person, if I'm trying to get that audience, it's really fucking hard at Phoenix Fan Fusion. Like, the show is enormous. And what I've been talking about with people is like, how do they find you? Like, how are they going to find you? Unless they know you and know your name and look you up in the listing, they have to just by chance walk by you. And they have to pass maybe 1,000, I'm not even exaggerating, that's not hyperbole. They might have to walk by 1,000 other booths to come across yours. They've already spent $20 on parking. They've maybe spent like whatever, $50 or $100 on a pass. They're selling $4 waters and they're selling $12 sandwiches and salads. Like, they might have spent $100 before they even came by your table, if they find it. Do they really now want to spend more money on a comic? It's too big. It's too expensive. It's overwhelming. But your customers are there. Like, it's just hard to connect with them and hope it all pans out. I don't know how this is coming off. Like, I won't know till I rewatch it. I don't know if it seems like negative. It's really not. I'm just sort of like I'm happy I did it. I'm selling stuff. I'm meeting great new fans. I'm meeting like great old fans. I'm seeing friends. I love like my neighbors in the booths. Like, it's great. But it's, you know, it's a mixed bag. And it's a cliche, but it's a mixed bag. So Sunday. It's all coming down to Sunday now. And then I'm going to move out. And then I'm going to take a weekend off. And then I'm going to get back to work on 97. So, talk to you later. We are one day post Phoenix Fan Fusion. This is Monday, Memorial Day. It is 1:24 p.m. Less than 24 hours ago, Phoenix Fan Fusion wrapped, packed everything up, moved out, went and had a burger and a beer, slept fitfully last night. It was all crazy dreams about the con, working the con. I forgot to put something out. I'm not prepared for con. I've overslept. I got to get up to get there in the morning. Like, it was just nuts. So, like, I'm sort of rested, but I'm drinking my coffee, and I'm sitting with Spooky Kitten. I talked to a lot of people at the con about how they felt like it was going. And this experience has made me really think about just the value of conventioning when you're an indie. I met lots of neat new fans, you know, people who I know they're going to be good fans, they're followers now. I enjoyed talking to them. They got what I was doing. They dug it. Like, and that's great. Like, I'm not saying that's not worth anything. It's worth a ton. And that's what I'm holding on to. It's like, you know what? I met some cool new people who I think are into it. And, like, I'll be able to have a relationship with them in the future. But I also think, like, I don't think I want to do big shows anymore. I think I want to, like, start looking at little enthusiast shows, and I want to look at local comic book shops that provide space for, like, local indies. And I think I need to go where the audience is. And I'm just not convinced a big convention is where my audience is. Or any indies. Like, not just me. Like, everyone around me. It was kind of like, I enjoy cons. I like attending cons. I'm just starting to question whether, like, I want to have a table at cons anymore. What is the role of a con now? What is the value of going to a con? What if I had taken the money I put in Comic-Con and just spent it on, like, building out social media? Too. I'm glad I did it. I wanted to do it. I followed through. Yeah, I had reservations. You remember the videos leading up where I was like, I'm sort of over it. I'm sort of not feeling it. But it was important to me to do it. I did it. Now I'm very excited to get back to work on 1997. It's a story that I'm excited about, and it's a comic I'm excited to see done. Phoenix Fan Fusion 2019. Off the list. Checked. Done. It's time to go back to work. Back to real work, right?
Do you know your instrument, and is it like oxygen? And can you play the river rain until your eyes close? Can you beat the highest score, and are you prepared for the shitstorm of beatings when the bullies find out? Are you aware that I would never hurt you? I would never slam your little fingers in the door. I would not sneak up on you and put a plastic bag on you and drag you screaming to your death unless I had a